Mr. Akshara, it was a very enriching session. I have a one question which I have been pondering over many days.
Okay.
So sometimes we recognize the stress. Sometimes we recognize the stress. We are aware of the stress. We also know the source of where the stress is coming. But what happens is it comes many a times in different form. For example, if I say financial stress, for example, it comes in a different form, and each time the mechanism to deal with it is different, as you rightly mentioned. Now the question is, every time the qua- every time the stress comes, if you see there is a for loop here where the stress is coming and we are dealing with it. Don't you think the whole mechanism of dealing the stress becomes a new stress for all of us? So it's like uh, it's completely the whole new stress of dealing with stress becomes the stress because it is so many times the stress repeats itself. Dealing becomes a huge stress. So how to deal with that particular stress?
Okay.
Thank you.
It's a very interesting question. Say there is a therapeutic technique called metacognitive therapy. In this technique, what we actually deal with is, suppose if I have some worry, I'll give you an example. Say if I'm going through sleeplessness, I'm not able to sleep properly, and I'm worried about it. Now I'm more worried about the worry about not having a good sleep than the sleeplessness in the first place. The same thing is happening here, that we are more stressed about dealing with the stress rather than the whole mechanism of dealing with the stress. It's a very important question to answer, and thank you for asking this. I uh, I can tell you uh, a very simple answer. As I was dealing with, or I was discussing rasam, suppose you have, as you mentioned, financial stress is there on the one side, but the financial stress is coming in different forms. Now, even though the term financial stress is same, when the forms are different, the emotions also get different. For example, if somebody has not given you money which you deserved or you wanted to get, and they are not giving, then the stress may, or the emotion that gets evoked is may be different. In the sense, you may feel angry, you may feel undervalued, you may feel more disgusted or disappointed. This is one. And at the same time, if you have to give money to somebody and you're not able to give it, and that is causing the stress, then the emotion that gets evoked is different. You feel inadequate, you feel helpless, you feel sad for yourself. So what I would say is, try to recognize the emotion irrespective of what is the primary causative agents or what is the generic term that we use. The moment you are able to recognize the emotion, suppose you are getting angry, then what I would suggest, and if that situation is becoming or causing stress to you, then apply a different tool of becoming assertive. If you're assertive and then conveying the message, then your stress is going down, and you are actually putting a eustress, eustress is a good stress, on the other person. And if you are feeling inadequate because you are not able to pay back to somebody else, then you need to deal with your inadequacy or your helplessness in the first place, and then go back to the person and acknowledge that, yes, see, because of these issues, I am not in a position to pay back by this time. Can you give me some extra time? So when you are communicating your emotion in the truest and honest way, there are people who will be able to reciprocate, they will be able to receive it. So it's primarily the emotions that you need to work with. So even when the generic issue is same, that is, if you're able to recognize different emotions and then deal with it, it is the best way to deal. And this response is coming from a very my own experiences when I deal with depression. People come with depression, but reasons for depression are multiple. So you can't be treating the depression patients in the same way. You have to deal with them in different ways. The same thing for stressors also. Hope that answers your question. If you have a follow-up question, we can take it.
No, I completely got the gist of it. And thank you for your time, and thank you for the excellent response. And I will definitely try to deal with the stress in a more effective and efficient way. Thank you,
That-
Akshara.